Afternoon, Scott.
Afternoon.
Good to see you. Just start off with team news ahead of Tottenham. Any injury concerns going into the weekend?
No, not really. To be honest with you, we're pretty. We've been good pre-season. We picked up a couple of little niggles along the way, which you probably expect a little bit in pre-season. But we're pretty full squad. So yeah, we're in a good place.
That's good news then. When we spoke at the beginning of pre-season, you spoke about wanting to get good work in. Just wonder, where do you feel your team are at, and how ready do you think they are for the Premier League now?
I think we're in a good place. We've worked hard, to be fair. It's been a 6-7 week pre-season. We've worked pretty hard and put a lot of demands on the team. But then you never really know, sitting in this position until the season starts. And no doubt, as the season gets going, you're always improving. But I think we're in a great place considering where we are. It's been a large element of what we've done in pre-season, and most of my pre-seasons are like that, trying to get us up to the best physical shape we can be in, and like I said, numbers suggest that, my eyes suggest that when I'm watching us train and where we currently are as a group, really. So yeah, we're in a good place in that sense.
Just talking about the group, last spoke to you just after you signed Kyle Walker, and you spoke about the Premier League experience he brings. In the last week, bringing the likes of Martin, Leslie, Armando as well. How positive is all of their experiences for the squad and the group going into the season?
Really positive. Is crucial as well. The balance of a squad going into the Premier League. I think there's large parts as a coach that you're always trying to put a real good balance on it, and experience comes with that. Players that have been in the division and understand what it looks like a little bit, and I think them players that you've highlighted there probably suggest that, really. So it's a young squad. We was a young squad last year, and it's a young squad this year, and certainly it's a young squad in terms of actually being in the Premier League. So these players that have an understanding of what this league demands and what it looks like is crucial for us, and delighted that we've managed to get some of these over the line, really.
In terms of getting people over the line, just wondering, the final few weeks, are there any areas in particular of the squad you would like to strengthen in?
There's areas we're looking at. Yeah, there's areas we're looking at. Look, as always, these transfer windows can bring their challenges, really. There's players that obviously you want to try and bring in, or there's areas of the squad you want to constantly improve, but there's a lot of factors and a lot of variables that go in with that, really. So like I said, we tried to do some business early, which we did, and was very happy with that. Big squad at the moment, so no doubt that some will be leaving as well, and over the coming 2 weeks left of a window, we're looking to try and do some more business to strengthen us even more, really.
And just finally from you, Scott, just looking at Tottenham a little bit, have you noticed any tactical differences to Thomas Frank's Spurs, although it's a small sample size, but compared to Ange Postecoglou's Spurs?
Yeah, there's definitely differences there, and a small sample size, and pre-season has suggested some different things and some different tactical elements, which obviously I think Thomas is maybe looking at, and in last night's game as well. So yeah, there's certainly some key things that have changed, which obviously I've noticed and we've noticed. A very good side with a very good coach, and we understand the demands of this game and the challenge that we face. But it's one, as always, we'll be prepared for and go and give the best version of ourselves to try and get a result.
Hi, Scott. Obviously, it's always very difficult for when teams come up to be able to try and break that cycle of going straight back down again. I mean, you've been involved in teams that have experienced that before, and Burnley, obviously, a team that have experienced that before. But given the experience that you've now got of going through that process, do you feel as if you're in the right sort of place to have enough of an experience record now to be able to try and break that cycle?
Yeah, of course. And again, as always, we understand the challenges. It's like anything. You can't sit here and say it any other way. The challenges for teams coming up in this division is big, and over the last couple of years, it's well documented that them challenges have been proven to be very, very demanding, and ultimately ending in a relegation, really. But fundamentally, these are the challenges that we worked tirelessly for last year. I felt we built something in this group, and we built something in this football club that fundamentally is a bedrock for us that obviously can put us in a real strong position. We're excited about this challenge. We had challenges last year. I've had challenges many a time during my journey as a coach, and this is a challenge that we're absolutely relishing this year, and we're going to go and give our best version ourselves, while also taking the massive parts of last year, what gave us big success, and hopefully bringing that into this year, really.
How difficult is it to try to be able to do that when you've got such a big turnover of players? I mean, do you hope to try and get as much continuity in as you possibly can, or are you almost starting with a blank page to some degree?
Yeah, you always want, in an ideal world, you always want not a big turnover of players, and sometimes what that brings, a relegation, a promotion, a relegation, a promotion over clubs which maybe we've had over the last 3 or 4 years, brings probably a big turnover of players, because players then come out the Premier League, don't maybe want to be in the Championship, they leave, you then go up to the Premier League, you're looking to improve and strengthen. So that's the constant roller coaster, that's the constant thing you're on, really. In an ideal world, of course you don't want that, of course you want some continuity. I think the only thing what really gets you that is securing Premier League football, and you can then start building that, really. This is a position that a lot of clubs like ourselves find ourselves in, really. So that's my job, to try and get the best out of them players, try and build exactly what we had last year again, albeit with some more new players coming in, and building that culture that it's very easy for them players to come in, recognise what's expected of them and what's needed from them, and that certainly will quicken that process up, really.
With that in mind, then, is it another sign that this year, for the first time, we've seen all 3 clubs that have come up spending collectively over £300 million in new players? Is that just a further sign of just how important, how hard it is for teams to stay up this year?
Yeah, Premier League clubs that have been established in the Premier League for 5, 6, 7, 8 years have had the investment and the funds over the course of them to slowly improve. And a team coming up from the Championship, you're chasing that down really a little bit. So yeah, I think everyone at the football club and any club that's coming up into this league understand that investment's needed, because you're going into a league which is pretty much established at this present moment in time, and you're trying to be as competitive as you can to try and improve, really. So I think that's probably why that suggests, them evidence suggests that's the case.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, Scott. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, mate. Yeah, how are you assessing kind of pre-season? Are you happy with the build-up to this campaign?
Yeah, I'm really happy, Scott. Like I said, we've worked really, really hard. We came in after 2 weeks at the training ground, had an in-house game and played a game here, and then went away to Portugal for a week, where we had a good camp there, played Wolves, which was a strong game for us, and worked together, built up some good bonds with the group, and then from there obviously led into the next 3 or 4 weeks, really. So we're in a good place. Injuries have been really kept at a minimal, while also pushing the boys, where this is a part of the season you're always at risk. You're always at risk. Players are at risk because you're putting huge demands. Players are probably training with fatigue. They're playing games in fatigue. And obviously bodies just soaking up and getting used to the workload, what's going into them. So you're always at a bit of a risk here, and as a coach you're trying to push boundaries and trying to never go over the line of a craziness, but you also have an understanding that we need to try and get to a level where we're going to go into and have to go and compete, really. So overall I'm really, really pleased with how things have gone.
You touched on this before, but with regards to last season's success and going into this season, based on everyone buying into a certain way of doing things, when you have a turnover of players to a degree like you have done, are there elements of concern that those that have come in need to quickly get to the level that you expect from them?
I mean, maybe there's concerns. Of course there is. I'll be sitting here and saying no different. You bring a large amount of new players in, then of course there are concerns in terms of character, what they like, and while we do their best diligence as we can, these are obviously concerns you have. The only thing I say is that last year you build such a strong culture and an environment, a team of men that absolutely understand to a man what's expected, what we expect, what they expect of themselves. I think it's hard to dilute that, really, and they're probably the power in this moment. Of course, I'm the main guy that sits in the chair and drives it every day, but I've also got 20 odd players that really understand, and it's probably part of them now that new players coming in, they quickly understand what we demand and certainly what we expect, really. So it definitely makes it easier.
Teams get promoted in recent seasons have tried to stay up playing different ways and doing it in a different way. How do you feel is, with what you've got here, is the best way for Burnley to try and compete next season?
Yeah, look, there's loads of different ways, and as a coach, and me as a coach, for all my experiences of being at a lot of different teams, you're always trying to work out what the best way to go. Last year was no different. Last year you quickly work out, okay, this is the best way we need to go in these moments, and this is going to be the same this year for us. Like I said, there's a bedrock and there's a foundation that you always fall back on, and there's certain cornerstones that will never move, and them cornerstones are probably very clear. And if I had to ask yourself, Scott, who visited many a time seeing us, what you think them cornerstones are, I'm sure you could really highlight the ones what are not going to budge for us this year. And they've been paramount last year, they've been paramount in pre-season with the group, highlighting to the group and the group's feedback back, okay, what exactly were we last year, what got us success last year, and they're just boxed in. And there's other parts of our game, of course, we're going to need to adapt at certain times, and I'm fully aware of that, and the players are as well. You know, over the last 6 weeks, that's exactly how we've worked, really, taking clues from other teams, taking clues from the Premier League, how the Premier League's evolved over the last 2 or 3 years. Premier League and football evolves very, very quickly, and I think you see that, really. And the game's changed very quickly now, and you need to be on the right side of that change and certainly have a real clear understanding of it.
And what a great venue to get it all going at the weekend. I bet you can't wait.
Brilliant first game for us, for sure. So yeah, like I said, we're looking forward to this, and we're looking forward to the first game, and it's a great one for us. So excited about that, mate.